Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the SCAN Holdings PLC preliminary uh, announcement for the year ended 30th of September 2021 investor presentation. Throughout this presentation, investors will be in listen-only mode. Questions are encouraged and can be submitted at any time via the Q&A tab situated on the right-hand corner of your screen. Just click Q&A, scroll to the bottom, type your question and press send. The company may not be in a position to answer every question it receives during the meeting itself. However, the company will review all questions submitted today and publish responses where it's appropriate to do so. These will be available via your Investor Meet Company dashboard, and you'll be notified once they're ready for your review. I'd also like to remind you this presentation is being recorded. Before we begin, we'd like to submit the following poll. I'd now like to hand you over to Beer Moore, Chairman and CEO, Sarah Atwell-King, Finance Director, and Vince Deary, Sales and Marketing Director. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for setting this up and for the introduction. And welcome from me, Bill Moore, the Chairman and Chief Executive of SCAN, to those attending. Firstly, why are we doing this? I think one of the things we've found through the COVID pandemic is that we've had to be more inventive about how we communicate with our customers and partners around the world, and we've set up different ways to do that. And I guess it's good to be inventive and think about new ways of communicating with shareholders and potential shareholders. And so we're trying this platform for doing that for the first time. I'm going to give you a brief introduction to the business. I'll talk a bit about the makeup of the board and introduce Sarah and Vince properly at that point. And then Sarah will run through the financial results for the year that finished at the end of September. We just published those results a couple of weeks ago. And Vince will talk through our product and market strategy going forward. And as you heard, we'll do our best to answer questions that you might have at the end. So for those of you not familiar with the business, this is a brief overview of SCAN and how we got to where we are today. Company's a spin out from Nottingham-Trent University. It's been AIM listed since 2002. We were originally working with a set of patents generated within Nottingham-Trent around X-ray, 3D X-ray imaging, and moved into a period of really doing one-off sophisticated X-ray systems to solve different problems across a variety of industries. Since around 2010, we've been much more focused on standardized products in security and industrial markets rather than one-off projects, and that's where we are today. Our two main markets are security screening and industrial screening. On the security side, our core product is portable X-ray systems for bomb squads, and you can see an image on the right there of somebody setting up one of our systems. And below you have one of our industrial systems that is used for inspecting catalytic converters in the automotive industry. We're based in just outside Loughborough. We have manufacturing and R&D facility there, so our 19 staff includes salespeople, software engineers, hardware engineers, and a small production team. So we're quite vertically integrated in that sense. And we have a global distribution network, and it's a particular feature of the company. We're able to access more than 60 different countries around the world and sell our systems very widely through that means. Our share price is currently around 2.5p, values the company at £3.4 million, and you can see there our results for 30th September, year ending 30th September. We'll go through those in a bit more detail, so I won't dwell on that now. And at the end of that period, we're in a happy position, having well over £1 million in the bank, which is a decent amount for a small company like us. Just to introduce the board, and those of you that have seen the announcements that we've made recently will notice that we're planning the first stage in a succession planning process. I'm Bill Moore, obviously, currently Chairman and CEO. I'm going to be moving to Executive Chairman role from the 1st of January. Apart from the normal roles of the Chairman, I focus on on product development within the business. My background is with before I joined ImageScan is with Smiths Group PLC, particularly Smiths Detection. Sarah, who you'll be hearing from later, is both our financial director and company secretary. And that role doesn't particularly change from the 1st of January, although Sarah will be looking to pick up things to help Vince slide into his new role. And Vincent, again, you'll be hearing from on product, is moving from sales director to be what we're calling interim CEO from the 1st of January. And as well as his sales and marketing focus, pick up responsibility for operations. We have two non-executive directors who are not with us on the platform today. Dr. Richard Lever's got a lot of experience across a wide range of security technologies, and Tim Jackson is a former FD of a large AIM-listed company. And provides help in those areas that come from his experience. And what we said in our recent announcement, repeated at the bottom, is that we're going to be making this change from the 1st of January. And then over the 6 months, we're going to obviously support Vince in that interim CEO role and consider whether we want to make further changes to the constitution of the board at the end of that period. So that's a little bit about that part of the announcement that we made alongside the results. Just a word about our past and current performance. What I've done on this chart is show in the light blue our sales and in the dark blue our operating profit over the period of 2014 to 2020, and put our share price on top of that. And the reason for showing that is two things really. One is to show that we have, in that period, demonstrated that we were able to achieve organic growth. And in that 2017 period, we hit around 5 million of sales and £500,000 of profit. And the share price did, respond well to that. Reached around about the 12p level. And we then did subsequently hit a number of roadblocks that have prevented us from capitalizing on that growth to make an acquisition, which is what we planned to do at the time. And what we've been doing over the last couple of years is building the platform to get the company as soon as possible back to those kind of organic performance figures, and again create that platform from which we can use other techniques, not least acquisitions, to further grow the company. Our long-term aim is still to build a portfolio of small security technology businesses and achieve a platform for sustainable growth. And a large bit of this presentation will be about things that we're putting in place, both in terms of products and markets, to achieve that. So with that background, I'm going to hand over to Sarah with her FD hat on to talk through in a little bit more detail how the business performed in the 12 months up to the end of September. Over to you, Sarah.
Thank you. Good afternoon. As you can see on the slide in front of you, we have the basic stats that we announced as part of our announcement last week. If I start on the left-hand side, obviously it shows us that the order book was up, which is really quite pleasing for us. It's been a difficult year, obviously building on a difficult year last year, so that was great to see. Sales were down a little bit, but sorry, excuse me. Beg your pardon, sorry about that. Sales were down, but they built on the order book that we had going out. Excuse me, sorry about this. I beg your pardon. I'll start again, sorry. So we had a good order book showing some good growth, and then on the back of that was some sales. Our order book really came out in two halves. The first half of the year was quite quiet, sort of following on from the last year and sort of the difficulty of COVID. The second half of the year was really quite strong in terms of ordering, and we're seeing that continuing this year, which is all very pleasing. And behind that, we're seeing a really good pipeline. We've been very good internally in terms of getting our orders turned around really promptly. So the sales, like the orders, reflect in the 2.5 years. So the first half of this year was not so strong. It was much stronger in the second half of the year. Excuse me, sorry about this. Was much stronger in the second half of the year. Our sales were down slightly on last year, on the previous year, and that was mainly because of the order book coming into the previous year had a large order in it. Once we turned that around, that gave us sort of the performance for last year, our first year of profit, and this second half of this year obviously then helped us deliver a good profit for this year. The great position to be in is a good gross profit. For those of you that don't know the business, our product is a quite high margined product. Depending exactly on what the product mix is, and each year product mix has quite an impact on what we deliver. The last year the product mix was slightly different, and the territories were slightly different. So we sell globally, and different territories do give us different margins. I mean, one of the positive things to highlight to you on this is that the margin at 53% meant that we didn't have to give away any of the margin to get the bookings in. And sometimes when we have larger volume orders, we have to do that. So that was really good. The other thing that this shows is the fact that as a business internally, we've been working really well on looking after our processes. We've been looking after how we turn those orders around, and all of those are reflected in the margin. You don't necessarily see it in sort of detail, but that really reflects a really good effort by the whole team. I suppose the other thing I ought to pop into the gross margin is the fact that we have had one or two supply chain issues. Everyone's sort of seen the media about packaging and electronic components. Mainly the packaging have impacted us, but not greatly in the year. Electronic components probably more into this financial year. But again, it reflects the good work we've been doing with our suppliers, working with them in terms of dealing with forecasts, working with them to find out where the shortfalls are coming. So that all is a really good credit to the whole team. In between gross profit and tax, gross profit and net profit is obviously overheads, and overheads really well contained in the year. As a business, we have quite fixed overheads. So there's sort of a level of turnover we need in order to cover those, which we've obviously done. But with the two sort of discretionary ones of marketing and R&D. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Things that have impacted us this year is obviously COVID. So we've done some targeted furlough, which has brought our overheads down a little bit. We haven't done so many shows and marketing, and Vince will pick up on how we've managed to mitigate that, but that's obviously contributed to a slightly improved overhead position. And then the last thing we've done is we've looked at the way we treat our overheads. And again, if you're technically minded, accounting standards require you to capitalise R&D expenditure based on certain standards. As a business, we've taken those and we've sort of created higher standards, because it's very easy just to put an awful lot on the balance sheet and create problems for future years, which we're not prepared to do. But we have sort of taken a few key products, the ones that we've launched or are about to launch, and again, we'll touch on those later in the presentation, and move those into the balance sheet, which increases the profit a little bit more for us, obviously charging the costs in future years against the revenue as they come in. At the bottom of the page, you'll see two notes on year-end order book, which was slightly down again on this time last year, not significantly, and actually probably reflects as much the fact that the team have been really strong in turning the orders around really quickly and getting them out the door. Behind that is also control of stock and control of other working capital. Stock in particular is a significant part of our business, and we have a stock holding policy, which we try and keep the minimum amount while allowing us to turn orders around really promptly for our customers, and that's reflecting in our position for this year. So it's a really good, credible year, second year of profit, which is really good for the business, I think. If I pop on to the next slide, this sort of just reiterates exactly what I was saying. I suppose the one thing I didn't actually say at the start, apologise, was that our orders are quite lumpy. If you don't know us, working with government contracts is not a smooth, predictable thing. It's always difficult for me when I'm forecasting. And we You could see that as being partly about COVID, but I think actually it's also just about the nature of our business. Some years you will have more lumpy order sales than other years. But if you look to the second graph, you can see how orders and sales are very, very closely linked. The guides are retaining them down really quickly, which is great news for us. It means that we're getting our working capital working nicely. And then I suppose if you look from the second slide to the third slide, the point I'd like to make to you is obviously that, as I said, that overheads are relatively fixed, and therefore once you get over to a certain level of sales, your profit turns around quite quickly. So that looking forward, once we start to grow our sales just a little bit more, we suddenly make an awful lot more profit. I think I've covered all of those, Bill. So if I hand back.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Quick run through there of our performance in the previous financial year. I'm now going to hand over to Vince and ask him to talk about our new product development and some of our sales achievements. And perhaps, Vince, while you're talking, you could pick up Simon's question about how we go to market and recurring revenues. Probably appropriate for you to cover that in your presentation.
Yeah, I will do. Thank you very much, Bill, and thank you, Sarah. So just a brief introduction to myself. I joined ImageScan in 2008. I emanated from an electrical and manufacturing engineering background and spent the past 30 years in various sales and marketing functions across a variety of companies and indeed a range of industries ranging from the power generation, ship propulsion, oil and gas, petrochem industry, and also the measurement metrology industry. So since 2008, as Bill mentioned, we've been trying to commercialize and commoditize the technology that we have within ImageScan 3D X-ray. And one of those ways of doing that is in this new cabinet-based X-ray system that we're going to show you here. And I'm just going to introduce this with a video so that you can just get a feel for the use of the product. And the interesting point about this video is the fact that this video was developed and created in the new online demonstration facility that we developed here at the premises just outside Loughborough to show our products across the globe due to the restrictions on exhibitions and travel. So as you can see, this is a very contemporary looking piece of equipment. We look really at home in the front of a corporate building, bank, commercial offices, and it's got a really ease of use. You can see the touch screen capability. So we're maximizing ease of use and producing some exquisite image quality. The slight difference with this product compared to the other products like this in the marketplace is that you could see there that we could fit a typical cabin bag size baggage in there. These systems were originally designed and built around mail screening, so mail packages and parcels, but we've extended the capability to include the ability to inspect carry-on cabin bags, so it can be used in the front of house in lieu of a traditional baggage scanning machine. And as I say, we spent the lockdown period making sure that we could reach our clients and our partners. So in terms of the sales process, we have built up a very extensive network of partners. Bill mentioned we've got installations of our systems in over 64 discrete territories, countries across the globe. And to do that, we operate predominantly through a range of partners. So our partners, we have a range of over 50 partners. Some of these have been with us for a very long time, very well established, and understand our product very well. A number have their own demonstration pieces of equipment as well. And a lot of the sales process tends to be governmental organizations. And sometimes these sales processes can take anything from 6 months up to 18 months, and indeed sometimes longer. So the predominant mode for sale of the portable X-ray system, which tends to be the bread and butter of our business, is done through agents and through government sales. The expanding product range, what this slide shows here, is the new Cabinet CXI system. So we've introduced this to develop a market in more commercial buildings, some government institutions, courthouses and prisons. And what we've done is we've repurposed the technology that we've had for over 10 years in the EOD world, the IED, our portable X-ray, and placed that within this cabinet system, put it in a nice new wrapping, with a very easy to use software interface, and we're taking that to market through existing partners as well. Now, bearing in mind this product was released during the lockdown period last year, we're delighted with the fact that we're able to demonstrate this equipment online and indeed receive our first order from an organization in Hong Kong. This is the typical market we're aiming at with this product, where space is a premium and the footprint of the equipment is key to its installation. So indeed, the first installation actually takes this cabinet-based system with a smaller footprint and replaces a conveyor system that the incumbent customer previously had. So one of the other things that we do need to do to develop our product range is reintroduce a conveyorized system. Traditionally, 25, 30 years ago, 3D X-ray launched an Axis 3D system, and it was a stereoscopic 3D system into the marketplace. Now, history has moved on quite a bit since then, and we are now going to reintroduce a conveyorized system into the marketplace. We're taking the core technology from a partner we have in Asia. We've been working with these guys for quite some time. We've taken 2 of their systems over into the UK. We've stripped them down and had a look at the build quality, bearing in mind we've got our own software designers, our system designers, electronics designers and mechanical engineers within our facility here. We're able to strip this machine down, investigate it and check it and ensure that we were happy to put our 3D X-ray brand on it, and indeed wrap it with the same themes and design cues as we've launched the CXI. So this product is going to be released in the early part of our financial year 2022. One of the other things I would say about this product is that we shipped one of these units over to the US, where we've got an ex-Marine EOD technician, and he's had 30 years in this security industry, where he was also responsible in the Marshal Service, the US Marshal Service, for investigating and inspecting the various X-ray equipment and walk-through metal detectors that were deployed in over 800 courtrooms in the USA. So he had a look at this system and was very pleased with the capability and the performance of the system, which gives us great confidence to introduce this into the market in the coming year. So let's just looking back on FY21, we recruited a couple of new key customers. The Asian customer was a significant winner of a fairly high volume of portable X-ray equipment, and the typical portable X-ray equipment you see there, which is the large panel behind the ammunition box and the portable generator in front, and it's deployed there with a gentleman in his bomb suit. But the new Asian customer was following a recommendation, and it's a long-standing good partner we have in Southeast Asia. The original deployment was for a considerable number of units in a metropolitan city. The local border force had a view of this and recommendation from the Metropolitan City Force, and they invested in a significant number of these to secure their borders. The other 2 notable points there of the Royal Air Force and the UK Police Force, these were the only 2 notable investments in the UK in portable X-ray. The UK is not renowned for investing very heavily in technology, and for us 3D X-ray to win these from not just UK competition but global competition was a real endorsement of the technology that we have. So some of the key points that these guys noted is the ease of use and the quality of imagery that we're able to produce from these systems. And indeed the Royal Air Force brought what we call a combi system, which was a large panel combined with a small panel, which in essence gives them a 2-system capability without paying the same as a 2-system price. So we're very pleased with both of those, and they're very good references to have. 90% of our business in the portable X-ray market is overseas. And one of the markets that is very large and has been traditionally very hard for anybody outside of the US to break into has been with the US police departments and federal agencies out there. As I mentioned previously, we've recruited an ex-Marine EOD guy. He's got 30 years of experience in security. He finished up actually being an EOD trainer for the Marines, and indeed does advanced X-ray interpretation courses. And that's very much how the 2 sales, into the US agencies have occurred. John Howell has undertaken training programs of advanced X-ray interpretation, where he has used our equipment to demonstrate the capabilities and what you should be looking for in an advanced portable X-ray system. So the US Police Department was a very prestigious department, and we know that both the Boston bomb squad and the Cambridge bomb squads have had a look at our equipment and are very impressed with it. And the same with the federal agency. There's a US agency, they're responsible for aviation security. They've taken delivery of one of our first systems out there. And we see this market as very key. It's a very difficult market to break into, as we are not a US supplier. And the US market has very much tended to purchase from their own homegrown industries. One of the other areas that we've been looking at, which has been a real success, and this has happened during 20 financial year, is the development of the Australasian market. And we've made sales of this portable X-ray system into the Australasian market, to government sales, diplomatic and security teams out there. And we hope to build on that going forward. And indeed, subsequent to the financial year 20, we've actually made sales into Australia for the other newly launched product, the CXI, that we first saw the video of. So we don't just do portable X-ray on the security side, or cabinet-based X-ray on the security side. We also have a significant chunk of business which is based around industrial X-ray. It's a fairly well-defined niche market for the inspection of catalytic converters, and more importantly, what we call the substrate or the brick that goes inside a catalytic converter that's wash coated with precious materials like platinum and palladium. And so what we do is we give the tier one suppliers into the automotive industry the ability to analyze the amount of precious metal that's layered on these systems. So we've got we're well over 50, we're up to almost 60 installations of these across the globe. And the beauty of these systems is that they also provide a very nice after-sales revenue. We provide a 24/7 call-out facility with these systems with a 2-hour response time. And indeed, on some of them, we have a 24-hour to fix time. So it's quite a demanding service that's requested, but it's also provides a very good revenue for 3D X-ray. Now, we all know the internal combustion engine is going to go through its dying days, but we have it directly from the manufacturers that we deal with, that there is an investment program still in the next 3 to 5 years in capital equipment for inspecting catalysts for the internal combustion engine. Now, these investments will be predominantly in Eastern Europe, China and India, but we have installations in these facilities already, and we do expect to see the continual rollout of this capital equipment in these areas. One of the other things that we undertook this year was an enhancement and development of the software capabilities of this equipment. And this had two combined effects. One was that we became more integrated with some of our customers in terms of our software became much more integrated with their manufacturing processes. And it also gave us additional capability. And this additional capability will allow us more scope to roll this out to similar organizations across the world. And yes, we do keep an eye on the future developments in terms of the beyond the 3 and the 5 year plan for the application in catalytic converters for the automotive sector. We are looking at new applications using this technology. So we've already started to have discussions and investigate the battery and fuel cell markets, where our line scan technology, which is the same technology used for inspecting catalysts, could be applied to those new industries that are developing as we speak. So in summary, we have a strong portable market. We're breaking into new territories. We're layering new products into our extensive partner network, and we're hoping to build upon the existing service and support revenue and develop that, because what we want to move away from, as Sarah mentioned, is this lumpy business. If we can have a steady revenue of support business, that will be ideal for us as well. So I'd just now like to pass you back over to Bill.
Thanks, Vince. Oops, going to double click there. Yeah, thank you. So you can see there, I think Vince touched on how we go to market the new products, and the fact that in growing, it wasn't just that we grew our order intake last year, but we achieved some very important new customers. And just emphasise again what Vince said about the US market. It's taken a while to get there, but we feel that that's a really significant achievement, and clearly one that we're hoping to build on. So obviously the important thing for investors and potential investors is not so much how we did last year, it's how we're going to grow the business. And we've really touched on a lot of these things. So this slide to some extent sort of re-emphasizes those. Two key headings really, expanding our products and developing new markets. On the security side, we haven't talked a lot about new product in the portable X-ray world, but we are very much continuing to invest in that product range to keep it at the high end of where it needs to be. And we watch this space. I would say we are planning a new launch of a portable X-ray system in the new year, and at the same time adding to that product range, and we're adding to the product range in three different ways. I would say one is to develop our own new products in-house, and that's great, gives us total control of the technology. But of course, with a small company with a limited R&D team, we can only innovate so fast. So alongside that, we are in other instances working in partnership with companies to take perhaps some of our technology, some of their technology, and develop something new that's greater than the sum of the parts. That's part of what we're doing. And the third thing that we're doing is taking products directly from other manufacturers who perhaps don't have the market reach that we have, and taking them to market with our brand. And you'll be seeing us doing more of that as well going forwards. And then from the marketplace side, our primary market on the security side is the bomb squad. And the bomb squad guy, but the extensive route to market that we built up with our partners around the world makes it easy for us to take these new screening products, the cabinet and conveyor X-rays, and take them into mail screening, access control, secure buildings, and so on. So expanding those market sectors in which we operate is important, while at the same time expanding the territories, the market geographies, if you like, to which we take those products. We've talked quite a bit about North America, but South America is becoming quite good for us, and we also see opportunities, indeed have won programs in Africa, particularly North Africa, in the last year or two. There was a question earlier about service and support, and I'll just sort of address that now. That's important for us, and one of the reasons we're attracted to products like cabinet X-ray and conveyor X-ray is that these products are deployed in public spaces, and by law, in pretty much any country you go to around the world, they have to be inspected and safety checked and serviced at least once, if not twice, in some countries a year. And so as the deployment of those systems build up, our service and support revenue, which predominantly comes from the industrial products at the moment, will increase in the security side as well. And that we see as an important trend for us, an important reason for working in those new areas. So just to finish with a summary slide, yes, the business does continue to be impacted by COVID over the last financial year, and all the signs just at the moment that is going to continue. But I think we're doing a good job of getting our product to market in that COVID environment. Obviously, we want to be able to get on planes and get out and see customers, attend trade shows, and demonstrate and trial our equipment as we would normally. But we're doing what we can to work within the restrained environment that we have. The business is profitable for the second year in succession, and that's 2 years impacted by the pandemic. We feel that's a significant marker for us. And as Vince said, we're adding new customers and strengthening our product pipeline. And these are where the opportunities for growth come. And alongside that, as part of a succession plan that's been thought about by the board for some time, we are making some tweaks in responsibilities starting the 1st of January, and we'll keep that under control as we look forward. So that's the end of the presentation.
Bill, thank you very much indeed, and thank you, Sarah and Vince also. Ladies and gentlemen, do please continue to submit your questions using the Q&A tab situated in the right-hand corner of your screen. Just while the team take a few moments to review those questions that have been submitted already, I'd like to remind you the recording of the presentation, along with a copy of the slides and the published Q&A, can be accessed via your investor dashboard on the Investor Meet Company platform. I'd also like to remind you that your feedback is important to the company, and immediately after the presentation has ended, you'll be redirected for the opportunity to provide your feedback in order that the company can better understand your views and expectations. We've had a number of questions submitted during the event. Bill, perhaps if I may just hand back to you, just to click on that Q&A tab, just start at the top, and if you could distribute the questions where appropriate, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the first one here relates to whether we think that the impact of COVID on how we go to market is permanent. Vince, would you just comment on these new tools that we've developed and what we see happening as COVID eventually reduces its impact?
Yeah, indeed. The opening up of the exhibitions has already occurred. We have already attended one exhibition in London in September, followed up by one in Paris, and we are planning to exhibit in Dubai in January. So we have started to already get out into the marketplace. These exhibitions have been good, but probably not the same footfall as previous. And indeed, one of the noticeable absentees have been the Southeast Asian and Chinese persons. But what we've been able to do is implement this conferencing facility, this demonstration room. And what we've been able to do is create a room here that has all the audio and visual communications that we require, and we can wheel in or import in any of our products, both industrial and security products, either cabinet or portable, into this facility and give people a real-time demonstration of the equipment, which is really, really good. And in fact, we can go even one better than that. We can actually allow the customer at the other end to use the conferencing facility and use the product through a Team Link hookup, as though he was in with us in that same facility. So just for instance, in the past week, we've undertaken demonstrations in Australia, one this morning in Kuwait, and there's one going to happen this afternoon to Ecuador. So yes, it's preferable to be out there in person, but we are doing the very, very next best thing. And we believe that this process, well, we know this process has worked with the CXI sale into Hong Kong. So physically, those guys were not able to touch and see that equipment, but they were able to see it through the video link and the conferencing facility that we set up. And also at the end of the question, it talks about customer support. We've implemented exactly the same process. Throughout the pandemic period, we've given the guys the tools to create videos for servicing videos. We've allowed our partners in various territories to undertake maintenance programs on our behalf. We've actually been supplying calibration equipment out to customers, and we've been giving customers guided through maintenance programs. So one of the real positives for the support team, it's phenomenally good, is that we have not seen a dip in our support revenue over this period, even though we haven't been able to travel to some of the facilities. So it's a testament to the technology that we've got, and also the partner network that we've got, that we've been able to continue a seamless support characteristic to our customers.
Thanks, Vince. I think just to add to that, I think my thought is that when we can travel again, we're not going to suddenly stop using these online demonstration facilities. I think it's a bonus that we've developed these, and we'll carry on using them, I think, and mix that up with the travel and the live demos. I'm going to pick up the next one myself, which is around the shareholder issues regarding previous M&A plans. And I've just noticed there's a question later about M&A opportunities. Just a little bit of background for those not familiar with it. At that period, 2017-18, when we'd got the price of the company up, the value of the business up, we did line up a M&A acquisition opportunity that we've been working on for the last year or two. Unfortunately, in terms of timing, we then hit a number of speed bumps that impacted the share price while we were going through the acquisition process, and we ended up having to raise part of the funds for that acquisition at a price that was not palatable to our larger shareholder, who holds about 23% of the stock. And having been very much supportive of the acquisition before, that shareholder actually pulled the plug on it at the time. And that is still the situation in terms of the makeup of the shareholder base. But and obviously, our discussions with that shareholder are very much between us and the shareholder. But what I can say is that we have a good understanding of what conditions would need to be in place, what we would need to achieve for that shareholder to be willing to allow dilution of her stock by one means or another. And what we're very much doing is working to achieve those conditions and get her support. So we look at these two aspects of the business in parallel: the shareholder side and obviously the performance of the business. And just to answer the question about acquisition targets, yes, there are small companies with very complementary products to us there in the marketplace, and we believe that provided that we can get shareholder support and get our own market capital size to the point where where fundraising becomes practical, and again, that there are opportunities. Our primary focus over the next year or so is to do that. Is to grow the business, get back to that £5 million of sales, £500,000 of profit number, and then use that as a platform to grow beyond that. Do you receive better margin from service provision from sales? Sarah, just want to answer that one quickly.
Yes, I mean the answer quite simply is on the whole, yes. I mean obviously service represents insurance, so it has the potential not to, but as long as we've got good quality product, which we do have, we do see very good margins from it.
Thank you. Question about the Surtex collaboration that we announced recently. Vince, you just very quickly, as that's kind of your
I will do.
Your baby to some extent. Could you just very, very quickly say what we plan to do with that product?
Indeed. So Surtex is a collaboration where we're going to combine technologies. So we have an inspection technology with X-ray. The Surtex collaboration is to introduce a chemical detection. And what we want to do is integrate those two systems into one package. And it's something our partner network is crying out for. And indeed, we have trailed this once before and made a significant sale where these two items have been combined previously. So we do see this as a complementary product to the portable X-ray system, and we're going to take this to market through our partner network again as an integrated solution. I do notice also there's a question about the competing against them. Is your imaging superior? The competition is quite extensive. There's a number of Israeli competitors, some in the USA, some in Europe, and one particularly in the UK. And our imaging capability is on the level, or if not better, than our competition. One of the things that we do get very good compliments on is the ease of use of our equipment. And as we have our own software engineers in-house, the feedback from the market is taken directly into our team, and then it can result in a direct output back to the marketplace. And that's very much appreciated by the customers.
Thank you. Cost of shipping on margins, Sarah?
Sarah's just dropped off there, Bill.
Okay. I'll just answer that.
Just click back in. Thank you.
Yes, cost of shipping is a factor. Some of our suppliers are far away, some of our customers are far away, and I wouldn't say it's having a major impact at the moment, but it is making us think carefully about both where we source things from and about our route to market. So yes is the short answer to that. Where do we hope revenue will be in 5 years' time? If you have access to the recent WHI note, they see us back to that sort of £5 million of sales number in FY24, and that's absolutely what we'd hope to achieve. But we don't just want to do that. We have a product roadmap that goes out 5 years, and in the latter part of that period, we're looking to develop higher value products. I mean, higher sales value per product than our current product range, so we would want to, continue that growth beyond that point. But the WHI note does give that perspective, slightly long-term perspective, and that's now in the public domain. I touched on interesting acquisition opportunities. Does the new product CXI, I guess that refers to, come with free support, more a warranty period, isn't it, Vince?
Yeah, that's right. So obviously we come with a basic warranty, and during installation we will give, and we also offer a support contract as part of the new equipment sale. So many of the industrial pieces of equipment go out with a support contract as part of the new capital equipment sale, and we make that offer with the CXI and also our portable equipment as well.
Yeah. The next question, Vince touched on screening batteries and other markets. Can't say too much about that at this point, but Vince, just want to touch on some of the former customers that we're now talking to in a different context, without necessarily naming them.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, we've got a long history with some chemical-based organisations, and that those guys are moving into either battery or fuel cell production, and we're talking with those. And we're also looking at talking, or have been talking to some automotive OEMs as well. It's very early stages, and that is a direct relationship with 3D X-ray headquarters and our technology team here and the end users, because very much it's an exploratory stage for X-ray in the battery market, certainly in relation to the automotive industry. In relation to the consumer industry, your AA batteries, etc., etc. That market is a historically old market dominated by Japanese or Taiwanese, but the automotive market and automotive batteries and fuel cells is very much an emerging market, and there is no real incumbent in terms of inline inspection of those systems yet.
Thank you, Vince. So I think the final question here is the perfect one to finish on, which is not even really a question. It's someone saying thank you for your presentation and telling us they've just purchased 100,000 shares, which feels like a good spot to finish.
a great spot to wrap up on, Bill. So thank you very much indeed, Bill, Vince, Sarah. Thank you very much indeed for updating investors today. Bill, perhaps if there was just any final closing words, just a final couple of seconds, and then we'll redirect the attendees to give you some feedback.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for listening. This is the first time we've done this kind of thing on this platform. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. As you can see, we are a small business, but we're working very hard to make it otherwise, and doing that by a very ambitious product development program. We have the route to market in place for those products to be successful as we get them out into the market, and that's really our platform for growth over the next few years. And I very much look forward to working with Vince and Sarah, and indeed the rest of the fantastic team that we have up near Loughborough to drive those plans forward. Thank you for your time.
Bill, thank you. Bill, Sarah, Vince, thank you again for updating investors today. Please ask investors not to close the session, and should be automatically redirected for the opportunity to provide your feedback in order that the management can better understand your views and expectations. This will only take a few moments to complete and is greatly valued by the company. On behalf of the management team of SCAN Holdings PLC, we'd like to thank you for attending today's session. That concludes today's presentation. Thank you and good afternoon.